Hey guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 11th. It is 6:20 right now. Market's going to open in about 10 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and set up this room real quick and we'll get started shortly with our analysis for today. So got a couple of things here to update and we should be good to go. Looks good. A couple more things here. Looks like we are good to go. Let me get this link sent out to you guys here in the premium. We should be on our way. Looks like we're good to go. So I'll get a few moments for people to make their way in. And we will get started shortly. All right, as people continue to join in, I'm going to go ahead and start market liquidity over here on the weekly time frame. So let me start over here. See, we got the higher high right there. Higher high, lower low. There. We'll color these up. We'll color these other levels over here blue. Going down to the daily level right there. Going down to the 8-hour. All right there. There. Lastly, right there, going down to the 4-hour. Couple levels right there. Going down to the 2-hour. Going down the red. Blue. Going down to the 1-hour. Going down to the 30. Going down to the 15. See if there's anything else here. Going down to the 10. And I think that's about it. So, all right, guys, good morning, everybody. Today is Wednesday, October 11th. It is 6:25 right now. Market's going to open in about 5 minutes. The market liquidity over here, closest level of liquidity down below is going to be at 33,966. So this is going to be the closest level for a sell. And this up here is going to be the closest level for a buy at 34.92. So we got liquidity on both sides. Just regular liquidity, nothing too crazy. And that's about it. So we got liquidity marked up right there. Going back over here to our normal chart. See who's here so far. Morning, Daniel. Morning, William. Morning, Kevin. Morning, Dan. Morning, Randy. Morning, Kenny. Morning, Marcin. Morning, Kip. Morning, guys. Yeah, Kip said net neutral, but daily and weekly change are really short. Looking for buys against sentiment. Yeah, so Kip over here posted the retail sentiment for today. So overall, I think it's still neutral for the day. Let me see. Yeah, so it's pretty much 48% long. So this indicates that 48% of retail traders are currently selling, while 52% of retail traders are currently, 48% of retail traders are buying, while 52% of retail traders are selling. It's not really a big difference. It's more on the neutral side. But like what Kip over here mentioned was this area down below. So for the daily change, there's been negative 7% longs and more people on the short side. And then same with the weekly, you can see a lot more people on the short side versus the sell side or the buy side. So we'll kind of use that to figure out, what direction we should be trading in. But yeah, that's basically what Kip was trying to allude to in the Zoom chat. So it's pretty much overall neutral right now. I'm going to go ahead and mark up news real quick. Sorry, guys, my dog's going to be barking in the background. Let's see, we have 1 second, guys. All right, so we got news over here at 4 o'clock, or we had news over here at 4 o'clock. It was the NBA mortgage applications. We had core PPI. This is the actual news that affected the market this morning. So news at 4 o'clock, 5:30, and we have more news coming up at 7:15. So 4 o'clock and 5:30 is when news came out. Let's see, 4:30, which is right there. Oh, that pink. And the other news event was this big candle right here at 5:30. So news is marked up right there. And we have more news coming up over here at 7:15 and 8:30. Well, 7:15 is just Fed Waller speaking. It's not a news event, but the Fed is going to be speaking at 7:15. So we just want to watch out for any irregular market movements because, the Fed's going to speak. So there's just a lot of things going on behind the scenes, guys. I've looked at Bloomberg. I've looked at the news for today. So 5 things to consider, before the stock market opens. Key points is Israel prepares to invade the Gaza Strip. There's war going on in the Middle East. Obviously, this is going to affect the U.S. because the U.S. has to pick a side. Biden has already sided with Israel. So we'll see how that works. Also, Exxon over here buys Pioneer, which is another gas company. And Birkenstock is going public. So just a couple of things there to look at. But obviously, a lot of things behind the scenes happening, which can affect the market. So when the Fed starts speaking here at 7:15, they're also going to be discussing about the interest rates. So interest rates are supposed to go up this month or next month. I think they will go up this month slightly, and maybe a little more on November release date. So the minutes are coming out today, I think. Let me check the news real quick. I think the Fed minutes are coming out today. Yeah, so the Fed minutes are coming out at 11. When Fed Waller speaks at 7:15, he's going to give some hints, but we don't really know what's going to happen there. So we'll see. Anyways, guys, market is opening in about 40 seconds. We'll see where market goes. Looking over here at the overall bias, we don't really have much of a bias. So today's overall bias, retail sentiment is neutral. It's currently 48% or 52%. Short. Looking at the fundamental bias, it is currently, it's up 81 points, so neutral as well. Short-term technicals, long-term technicals. Looking over here, short-term is pretty much neutral. Long-term is bullish. But short-term neutral, long-term bullish. So we don't really have much of a bias for today, guys. Looking at that right there, market is now open. I'm going to go ahead and mark an opening price right here. This is going to be blue. And there we go, guys. So we have a sell signal. So the breakout V2 could be a possible sell. I mean, we'll see what happens here in the next couple of moments or so, but I'm going to go ahead and mark up opening price right there. And we had a couple of things over here, 7:30. I'll mark up structure when the market starts to move a bit. It's kind of just in one area right now. Huge candle right here on open. So we have a huge buy signal coming up right here on the opening candle, guys. You guys can see all the crazy movement that happened over here pre-market. This big buy push is pretty much the movement from the news earlier this morning. So there was news that was released this morning. If you guys saw the PPI, PPI was all positive. So this was just a later reaction on open based off the news that happened at 5:30. Big push right there doesn't necessarily mean it's going to hold, but I can assume that this big push right here happened based off the news event. So here's a couple of things to look at. If you're looking to take the momentum counter scalp, we currently have a buy signal right here. So if you get two red candles, that's going to be an entry for the momentum counter scalp. Again, guys, that's just a strategy that we're testing. So you don't have to take that strategy. The only two official strategies that we're applying would be the momentum pullback scalp and the high-low scalp V2. This is something that we're testing here. I mean, the win rate for that strategy is not bad. So, I mean, we're still looking at it. It's currently at a 74% win rate from August 7th up until today. So if it comes up, I'll document it. If I do plan on taking it, I'll let you know. But right now, I don't really plan on taking it. I'll typically take it if it's in the direction of an overall bias, but we don't have a direction of overall bias yet. So a couple of things here to look at. If we get two green candles right here, this will be the breakout V2. So there's two different entries that can come up. If there's two red candles that come up, it's the momentum counter scalp. If there's two green candles that come up, then it's going to be the breakout V2. So if this candle right here closes green, this could be the breakout V2. But if you guys can see over here how the market was moving pre-market, it's not necessarily the best type of entry that you want to take. It looks a bit risky to me because of all this uncertainty over here as price kind of spiked back and forth pre-market. Whenever we have that, it's usually a sign to maybe stay out of the market until the market stabilizes, because there's not really much of a confirmed direction. So as you see over here, like even this candle here is pretty much indecisive. It was green, it was red, now it's back to red. It has the last 4 seconds. It's not going to close green, of course. So there's no breakout V2 right there. If you get a red candle right here, that's going to be the momentum counter scalp. Again, like I mentioned, it's not an official strategy. It's one strategy that we're testing. So if you guys want to take it, feel free to take it. But I only take these types of entries if I have a bias in my favor. Right now, there's no bias in my favor. So I'm not really looking to take these entries right here. I'm going to hold off and wait for the official entries that'll come up once the market has stabilized a bit. And this right here was the intraday scalp as well. Thanks, William, for mentioning that. So I'll go and document that too. There's so many entries that came up right here on open. So I will mark up that intraday scalp once this here closes. This will be the momentum counter scalp that is coming up shortly. Yeah, so if you guys are looking to take this, I'm not going to take the trade. You guys can see how big these candles are. The candles are just too big for me to want to enter. There's just too much uncertainty with regard to the direction of price. So this right here is the momentum counter scalp. I'll just follow this for now, and then I'll go ahead and mark up the intraday scalp as well. So the ETR right here was 17. I'm going to mark this up right here. So it looks like the intraday scalp actually didn't play through. William, yeah, if it was 100 pips, if it was the original 100 pips that we would typically apply for the intraday, it would have hit, but it looks like it did not hit for the 1-to-1 ATR. So I'll just put that up over here. This came up at 631. Let's take a screenshot of that real quick. All right, screenshots taken, 631. So I'm not in any of these positions, guys. We're just testing these. These are the strategies that are being tested right now. This came up at, let's see, 631. It was for a buy entry. The candle was too big, so obviously it's one that would have been skipped. I mean, that candle was just way too big. Market. Yeah. So I'll put that as a note right there. Let's go back to the chart. So this over here, you can see for the momentum counter scalp, looks like it, I mean, depending on where your entry was, huge fake out right here. This is why I wasn't planning on taking it, because you see how it faked out? It went up, tapped stop loss, and it came straight down. So I'm glad we didn't take that trade there. Again, these are entries here that we're just testing, guys. The only official entries that we're taking are the momentum pullback scalp and the high-low scalp V2, if it fits criteria. So I'm going to put this on the spreadsheet too. This is for the momentum counter scalp. Market. Entry channel is huge. So it's the same situation here with this one. I'll go over it shortly. This came up at, I'll say 633. I'll just estimate it. Sell, loss, negative 250. This is going to be, and I'm also going to add here that spike to stop loss, then straight to TP. Yeah, it's not exactly the best market to be trading in right now, so I'm holding off myself. Not really waiting. I'm waiting for the market to stabilize. Once it stabilizes, then yeah, I'll start looking for entries. But right now, it's not exactly the best market to trade in. So, same with this entry over here that we marked up for the momentum counter scalp. The candle here was just a little too big, as you guys can see over here. I mean, every candle here has been kind of big. It's all over the place. So it's not exactly the best area to be trading in to begin with. So looking at this right now, the only entry that we are looking at to maybe test would be the breakout V2. So we pretty much covered momentum counter scalp didn't play out today. Intraday scalp didn't play out today. The other strategy that we're testing is going to be the breakout V2. This hasn't come up yet, but this is like the only last one that we're kind of looking to test. Once market kind of stabilizes a bit, we'll start looking for the official entries. But right now, there's just nothing for us to take at the moment because there's no direction. So we got price kind of going back and forth. We currently have a sell signal. So if we get two red candles, that's going to be the breakout V2. There's one red candle right there. And if this here closes, we'll see if this here ends up pushing out to be the breakout V2. Let's go back to our clean chart over here. So let me mark up structure so that you guys can see how crazy this market is moving this morning. There's just not really much to work with here. So I'll draw this lower structure right here too, for later. All right, so as you guys can see right here, price is just in a huge range. Market opened right here, it pushed all the way up, faked out, came back below right here. Price can easily fake out here or come down lower and maybe even fake out down here and come right back up. But it looks like it's faking out right here where it's currently at. And it might just swing right back up from where it's currently at and range from this area here. Because it's just ranging between this area. Price pushed up, came back down, pushed back up, came back down, etc. It's probably going to range within this area. So we'll see. But I do have market structure marked up right here on our clean chart. So we just got to sit tight and wait for some sort of confirmation. There's obviously no confirmation here right now. Even with the trend, you guys can see over here from the pivots are super messy, right? So we can't even look for entries here applying the high-low scalp V2. So we got the high-low scalp V2 setting up over here. I'll put the criteria here so that you guys know what strategy we're applying. And then over here on the clean chart, or not on our main chart, I'm going to go ahead and mark up the levels so that once we get to that point, we can start looking for possible entry. So level right here. And I like marking up the levels because the more spread out the levels are, lower the volatility. You guys can see right here that these levels are pretty much spread out pretty wide. So today's not a very volatile day for the market. It's a very rangy day. Because if you looked at the market on, say, Monday or the week before, there was like a bunch of lines in between. So these lines here are pretty spread out, meaning that the volatility is not extremely high like it was prior. So there goes the levels right there. As you can see, there's not really much of a direction. Let's go back to the clean chart. Price is back to where we expected it to go, right? I mentioned that price will probably bounce off this area and then just continue to range within here. It's just not much going on. Yeah, exactly. Kip said we need a direction. Yeah, no direction right now, guys. So just be patient and wait for the direction to show itself. Once the direction shows itself, we can start looking for possible entry. But right now, there's just no direction here at all. We're just in a huge range. Let's see, C6 said don't forget FOMC today too. Yeah, so at 7:15 we have the Fed speaking, and then at 11 o'clock we have the Fed minutes. So we'll see if this is another fake out right here, and if it bounces right back up. But you guys can see how price just keeps coming back to opening price, right? Price will come up, fake out, come back down, opening price, come back up, come back down, opening price. So you can see where price is rejecting from. It's rejecting directly off this blue line, which is opening price. So what we need to see here, and this is like basically, this is literally all we need to see. We need price to push away from opening price and never come back. Right, once we have that, we'll have a direction for a buy, and then vice versa. If price ends up coming below opening price and comes down and never comes back, then we'll have a direction for a sell. We just need a direction. There's no direction right here. Price just keeps coming back to opening price, bounces off, comes back down. Just a repeat process. Yeah, exactly. Kip said never come back except the BTO for life. Yeah, back to open. So there's obviously no direction here, guys. And until there's a direction, I wouldn't recommend taking any trades. You guys can see over here from the pivots aren't even angling. They're not spread out at all. They're just jumbled up in one area, which is not a good sign. You want to see price actually be moving. The ATR is not horrible right now. It's currently at 23. So we do have some volatility, but it's not really moving directional. It's just volatility down the middle. All right, so let me take a look over here on the 5 minute. 5 minutes still technically bullish. So I'm going to go and mark up some levels here. If you guys didn't attend the mentoring session yesterday, the mentoring session from yesterday covered a lot of stuff. So I do recommend you guys go and review that. Because there was so much stuff that was covered regarding the high-low scalp V2. Looks like there was an entry that came up right here pre-market and it already hit. So price came up above here, pulled back right here for the fake out, came back right there for the buy. Yeah, it looks like it came through and went straight to TP already for this level down here. All right, so here's our main chart. For our main chart over here, we're going to be looking for momentum pullback scalp. But in order for us to start looking for that entry, we need to have a direction set. There's no direction right now. So there's no momentum pullback scalp to take just yet. Looks like we might be bearish, but it's not really clear just yet. Let's take a look at the sentiment. Looks like sentiment's coming back up. So it's back at 49.51. It's pretty much flat neutral. Looking over here at the fundamentals. Fundamentals are still pretty neutral right now. We don't really have any news today. We just have Fed Waller speaking at 7:15. That's pretty much it. That's about it. So, all right, guys, we just got to sit tight right here. There's no direction. You can see the pivots are not moving at all. They're just staying right down the middle. Here's a clean chart. I'll leave it at the clean chart right now because there's just nothing for us to look at on the actual chart. Until there's some sort of direction, there's no point in going back and forth because there's nothing for us to look at here. So realistically, price is just ranging right here down the middle. We need price to push away, climb up higher, or we need price to push below and climb down lower. But this area right here is not a good area to trade in because there's no direction. You can easily get stopped out in either direction. You either get lucky, price spikes in your direction, you hit your TP, or you get unlucky and price goes the opposite. So yeah, and also Kip mentioned that it's in a session sandwich too. I don't know why my sessions are not on. Let me turn them back on. So I accidentally took them off. Make some adjustments here. Yeah, you're right. It's right in between the sessions. So we got the sessions over here. Price is pretty much rejecting between this sessions and the lower sessions down here. That's where price just keeps going back and forth between. All right, so we just got to sit tight here, guys. There's nothing for us to look at the moment. Yeah, there's not really too much here. Price is still climbing back up. We'll see if it comes back down to open. I'm gonna step away for 1 second, guys. I'm gonna grab some water. All right, I'm back. Let's see. The pivots here are starting to shift back up. So we'll see if this starts to shift back up. We'll start looking for a buy. But again, we just have no direction. We really just want the pivots to spread out. So once the pivots start to fan out, we'll have some sort of direction. You can see like this, for example. Once the pivot starts to fan out like this, we can start looking for possible buys, right? So I don't care which direction price goes. I just need price to actually go somewhere. Price can fan out towards the bottom. We can look for sells. Price can fan out to the top. We can look for some buys. It's not really a big deal, but we just have to wait for it to actually fan out. So try to fan out down here below. Failed. Now it's swinging back up. And we'll see if we have opportunity right there. So just to clarify, guys, there still has not been a breakout V2. So if you look over here, we had a buy signal. There was no 2 green candles. We had a sell signal. There was no two red candles. Now we're having a buy signal here. So the breakout V2 is still technically, I mean, it's still technically around if anybody wanted to take it. So we'll see. So technically there's an entry right here running for the 5 minute if you're looking to take this as a high scalp V2 on the 5 minute. I wouldn't recommend taking it. The volatility is too low right now. If the volatility was higher, it'd be more reasonable because price can just easily climb up and go higher. But right now, it's just too low. We can use this as a confluence though. So I'm not taking this trade here, but I'm just marking it as a confluence. So if this becomes the case, then we might be able to see price go up higher. But you can see right here, the volatility is just way too low right now. So we'll come back and take a look, but as of now, there's just nothing for us to take here at the moment. Yeah, exactly. So Daniel said it needed to break higher high and give us a high-low V2 into liquidity and take us with it today. Yeah, and I agree too with you, Daniel. So price over here is attempting to climb up to the liquidity. So you guys can see the 2 target price points are up here. If price climbs up higher, this is likely to be the target price point. And if price climbs down lower, this is likely to be the target price point, right? There's two different targets here, target for the top and target for the bottom. I mean, it doesn't matter which direction it really goes. It's just we need to use this as a confluence to identify which direction to look for. For me personally, it doesn't really matter, but I just need some sort of direction here. So we currently have a buy signal. If we get two green candles, that's technically the breakout V2. But looking at where we currently are at price, I don't think we're going to get a breakout V2 because we're so far into the session already. Yeah, if you look at our breakout V2s, they typically happen early in the session. So if you look at the breakout V2s here, I don't think they ever happen after 640. Or actually, there's a couple here that happen at 653. So there's still opportunity for it. But there's only one time I've seen that it's happened after 640. Again, there's just no direction here. Here's a clean chart. The clean chart is probably the best chart to look at right now because you can see how there's no direction. Price just keeps going back and forth between both structures. Like over here, it looks like price is kind of moving a little bit, but realistically, it's not. It's just going sideways. And here he goes, price comes back down lower. It's not much to look at here. And here we go back to open. See where price came back to? Opening price. There goes the target price point again. So just a huge range, a lot of fake outs, no direction. Here we are back at open. So again, we're looking for price to push away from this and never come back. That's literally what we're looking for. Like right here, price attempted to get away, but then it came right back, right? We can't have that. We need price to continue climbing. So if price continues to climb up, keep climbing higher and higher and higher. Because if not, price is just going to come right back down to opening price. It's just not really worth the risk. There's no direction, there's no trend, there's not really much for us to work with here as this kind of pulls through. Let's see, Medusa, you mentioned that an entry on the 5-minute, doesn't matter how many candles pass after breaks and closes. No, but there has to be volatility, Medu. So what I'd recommend is review the mentoring session from yesterday, because we went over that in detail, but there's no, like the rules for the 5-minute are like super lax. There's like no rules for the 5-minute. I haven't really put together very many rules for it. So like there should probably be a time limit for us to apply it on the 5-minute. But I haven't really, because the problem with the 5-minute is that the entries don't come up very often, right? So technically these zones here probably shouldn't be used. You'd have to use one that happens after 630. So for example, like none of these here would really be used except for maybe this one right here. Because you're looking for entries when volatility is actually moving, right? Like these are all pre-market. So like this zone, this higher high came up at like 430, right? It's not really useful because it's been broken so many times over here. But for the most part, there's not really many rules for it. Like if you go back and back tested it all throughout the day, you're going to see a lot of wins. But realistically, if you think about it, you're not going to be trading all day, right? So what I would test it on would just be, or what I'd look at for entries would just be during New York session. So basically right here after 630, because the market opened right here at 630. So everything over here is kind of irrelevant before it. So I would just mark up the zones from here, anything after 630, and then look for entries between 630 and 11. Because after 11, that's when the market volatility starts to die down for, market close. So for my testing, I just look between 630 and 11. There's like a couple entries that come up and they usually hit. But there's not really much of a guideline. Like it doesn't matter if like it happens within 5 candles. It also doesn't matter if like the trend is like shifted completely. There's just a lot of different things to look at there. But yeah, just review the video, dude. And I kind of went over most of the details, but it's going to be a work in progress for the 5-minute. I probably won't even use it. I'm just going to use it as a confluence, kind of like how we use the snipe strategy. Like I don't typically use snipe strategy at all, but a lot of people use it as a confluence to determine the direction of the trade. All right, looks like we finally have some direction here. Not a lot of direction, but we do have some direction. Okay, so price broke below the opening price. Now, what we have to see here is if price continues to drop. So there's 2 different scenarios that I mentioned earlier, guys. So now that price is down here, there's 2 things that are going to happen. Price is either going to come down and continue dropping, or price is going to bounce off the structure and come right back to opening price. right? It's the same pattern. It's the same thing that happened over here. So if you looked above, price came above, and then it came right back down to opening price. Opening price is like baseline. So if price goes back to opening price, it just pretty much goes back to where it opened at, because market opened right here at this blue line at 630, and now it just keeps going back to that same area. So it does not look like price is going to continue dropping. I mean, we'll just keep following it until we have some sort of direction. There's not going to be much for us to play with here. Which sucks. It's 6:55, so we still have a lot of time. I mean, typically, if this market doesn't start to move directional until like maybe 7:20, then it's probably just going to range the entire day. Or not the entire day, but the entire session. Because typically right now at this point, I think after 6:45, there should start to be some sort of direction. And it looks like price is coming back to the opening price right here. So let's see, case set at 33,980 looks like a sell area. Yeah, so Kay over here on the YouTube mentioned that they think that this looks like a sell area, and it looks like price has bounced off it. This is considered a support in my opinion. So like I see this as a support. I mean, if price was to break below, then yeah, I would see it as a sell area if there was some sort of confirmation. But right here, you can see it bounce directly off your price point. Okay. Which is cool. I mean, it's all good, man. Everybody has a different opinion on like how to analyze the market, right? There's no one way to analyze it. So like how I identify this area as support right here, it could have went either way, right? Like for example, I identify this as support. If price broke below, then that would be okay. Because I'm like, okay, price is probably going to continue dropping, like what Kay mentioned. But the thing here is that price just came down, faked out, and then now it's probably going to push right back to opening price. So just keep that in mind, guys. It's always good to have different opinions on how to identify what they're looking for in the market, because then you can pair that with your analysis, right? Like if you think there's a sell here, I'll pair it with the buy, and then we can kind of analyze it to see, okay, best case scenario for K is price breaks down here, you take the sell and it drops, right? Worst case scenario is price bounces up, and then you just get stopped out. You attempt it on the next try. But it looks like price is now just ranging between this area here now. These two zones. Yeah, the support I see over here, that I drew the support right here from the news candle. So the big news candle right here at 530, see how price spiked down, created a big wick. That's where I drew my support. Looks like it came back down right there for a double bottom. All right, so there's no entries for us. There's no direction for us. Let's go back over here to the other chart. Let's see. So there's a high-low V2 that's currently running right now. I mean, I wouldn't take it obviously because there's no direction, but if there was a direction, this would technically be the high-low V2. Or actually, no, it wouldn't be. So Maddie, see how there's a different level right here? You would be basing it off this level up here, because this big candle right here broke past these two. This is the closest level. So there's no high-low V2 running yet. If this happens right here and this closes above, then this would be the actual level for the high-low V2. Okay, so now it's actually running if anybody's looking to take it. So this would be considered the high-low V2. So it's currently running right now. Let me check the other levels over here. Actually, so I take that back. I got to pull out of this. I got out of the position, guys. I got into, so this is tough here because you have to like, actually, no, that was a good entry. Sorry, I got tripped up here. There's too many levels here around this area. But yeah, there's currently a high-low V2 that's currently running right here. So I know what Maddie was looking at. He was looking at this one down here, which I can see where the confusion can arise because there's just so many levels right here. So let me mark up all these levels right here to show you guys. I'll just mark up these. So these are the most important ones. Looking at this right here. So I actually got into this position, guys, and I closed out when it came down here because I thought I was in an incorrect position. This is technically a high-low V2 that's currently running. So let me just explain like which levels are not used. So for example, this level right here is not used because this red candle that you guys are using, this here broke past so many levels, right? So you need to go to the first level. If you look over here at the high-low scalp, it says confirm price break and close past the nearest high-low. So there's how many high-lows here, right? This is the nearest, this is the farthest one. So this one here is not used. The one that Maddie was looking at was this one right here. This one here also wouldn't be used because this one was broken by the same candle, and the closest level would be this one up here. So this right here would be the actual level to be used. So these right here aren't used because you can see how these candles broke and closed past it already, right here. This here wouldn't be used, and then this level right here wouldn't be used because this candle over here was broken by this one over here. There's actually an entry that already came up. That was earlier over here. But actually, this is the one that Maddie's talking about. Maddie, are you talking about this one right here? So there's like so much confusion here because there's so many levels. So let me show you guys which ones are running. There's one right here that's running off this level. Price broke and closed off this red candle, pulled up right here for the fake out, and it came back down right here. So there's actually an entry that came up right there that is running. Yeah, so this is the actual entry right here, Maddie. This was the first one. So it's okay. It's good that I pulled out of the position because I was in the wrong position as well. There's so many positions here that are overlapping that you have to go with the first one and not go into anyone after. So this one right here would be the first one. I know there's a lot of confusion here, but this is the first level. This candle broke and closed below it, faked out, came back below it, and that'd be the first entry. The only problem is we wouldn't have entered right here because of all of the crazy movement, right? There's all this crazy movement right here, so we waited for the market to stabilize a little bit. This is the one that was actually running. Maddie said that he was looking at the 33,996. So yeah, this entry right here is not the entry, Maddie. But I can see how you got confused because there's so many different levels here. Maddie was basing it off this big red candle right here. But if you're basing it off this big red candle, it'd be off this level up here that's higher. So this right here broke past it. This is the closest level right here. It wouldn't be this lower one because you have to go for the closest, the nearest high low. This one here is the lowest high low. So this would be too late. This would be the nearest from this candle break. But again, there's another entry that was running over here. I'm not gonna document any of these trades, guys, because there's just too much stuff going on right here. This is why I don't like when the market's kind of choppy, how it's moving, because there's just a lot of uncertainty as to like where this stuff is, you know, where the entry will happen. Usually when price is going directional like this, you just have like one entry. Like you'll have one entry here that lines up, or one entry here that lines up. And it pretty much just like price comes up, comes back down, and that's your entry time right there. Right. The problem with this here is that market is so choppy that there's so many levels here. There's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 levels that you could have used. And it's easy to get these confused right here because you would probably go for the lowest one, but this is actually the closest one right here. So I know there's some confusion there, guys. If you guys got confused there, I would just recommend reviewing the mentoring session from yesterday because we cover everything in detail. But I'm not going to count this trade here. I did make profit on the trade, but I'm not going to count it because I only took partial of the move. So I took a partial move right here. Let me see my profits. I locked in 2,160. So I basically locked out at that point right there, basically. So again, it's a little partial move. I'm just going to go and put this in the Discord so that you guys can see where my profits came from. Just another partial move of the. It's exactly what we did yesterday. So I'm hoping the market kind of stabilizes a bit or starts moving a little more directional because right now it's just such a mess and it's hard for us to look for these entries here. We're starting to get some sort of direction. You can see that price is now starting to look like it's coming down. However, if you look over here on the clean chart, it's really just back at open and it's just ranging between this structure and this structure right here. So I personally would probably sit out a little bit longer and wait for this to stabilize a bit because right now it still hasn't it hasn't chosen its direction. You can see it's now coming back up. It was bearish and then now it's coming right back up. But let me take a screenshot of my profit so you guys can see what I locked in on that. I just pulled out of it. There was no need for me to be in and on position where I'm not 100% sure if that was the actual entry. And it looks like Maddie got out with small profits too, so it's all good. This market, I'm hoping the market will stabilize like within the next 10 minutes or so, because once it hits like 7:30, it's already cutting it close to 8 o'clock. I think usually around 7:30 is like the cutoff time where if there's no entries, there's probably not going to be any entries for that day. Luckily, I was able to lock in some profits. It wasn't the best move, and I kind of did FOMO into it because I did see it, and then I hopped in real quick when it came back to entry point, but it wasn't a good entry because I wasn't able to fully analyze it before entering the trade. So here are my profits. So it's okay if you guys haven't taken anything. You guys can see how messy the market is right now. I'm glad I pulled out because you can see here that I would have been in some massive drawdown if I would have held on to it. So whenever you guys don't feel comfortable about a position, or if you're not for sure if that position is actually a legit position, I would recommend just pulling out. Like what I did today, I didn't feel comfortable about it because I wasn't sure if that was the actual entry. So I pulled out for a small profit. So I'll show you guys what I locked in off that. So for that partial move right there that I took, these are the profits that I've locked in for today. So I locked in this partial move right here. When price pulled down, I just pulled out manually. You can see my first funded engineer account, I locked in 970. My FTMO locked in 1,030. Second FTMO 1,030. Third FTMO 1,030. My 200K account locked in 2,160. This is my second funded engineer account locked in 480. This is my personal account locked in 315, my TFF 966, and my second CFF 966 as well. So those are all the profits I locked in off this one trade right here. I pulled out when price came down. Probably the best decision because if not, I would have been caught up in this pullback reversal right here. So I'm hoping, so here, this is what I'll look for now. If price comes back down, I'll look for another opportunity at these levels. I think this one's already been used up. Yeah, so this one's been used up already. And this one over here, I think, let's see, let me measure real quick. Yeah, so this one over here actually hit stop loss. So it's a good thing that we pulled out of it. Or it looks like it got really close to stop loss. I don't know if it actually hit it, but it looks like it might be coming back down for another retest of the area. Let's see, Valentine's asking if anyone caught the intraday. So the intraday actually came up earlier, Valentine. It came up over here, and I don't think it played out. So this is the original. Well, I mean, depending on which one you're looking at. If you're looking at the regular intraday scalp, there's an intraday scalp that came up right here, and this is the one that Valentine might be talking about. Because if you use the traditional 10-30 split, it went straight to TP right there. There was a sell signal, trend meter down below is red, price came through. If you're talking about the intraday scalp on open, the one on open happened over here. And depending on what your TP stop loss was, if you use the original 10-30 split, it would have hit TP. If you use the ATR of 23.23, it would have hit stop loss. So depending on like what your TP stop loss would have been, typically if you use the original, it would work. There's another intraday scalp right here that's currently running. If anybody's looking to take it, I'm not going to take it obviously, but there's another one right there. All right, so I think there's also a breakout that came up over here, but it didn't actually play through. Let me see, there's a breakout that happened. So the breakout V2 happened right here. And I'm just going to document it because we need to document this so that we understand, where the trades came up. So for future reference, we'll know if this is a good strategy to apply or not. So it looks like this one over here obviously didn't play out. It came down, went straight up, and did not work out. There's a sell signal right here, 2 red candles. And it did not play through. I'm just going to go and take a screenshot of this real quick. All right, cool. And then I will put this over here in the breakout V2 spreadsheet. That one came up at 701. This is the latest breakout V2 that I've ever seen. There should be a cutoff for the breakout V2 because obviously this didn't play out. Sell, loss, 250. Notes there for the entry. All right, so we're still waiting for confirmation of direction, but if you guys are looking for some momentum pullback scalps, there might be one coming up right here. So if this candle right here, the ATR is super low. If you guys look at the ATR, it's currently at 17 right now. It's not really looking too good because you want the ATR to be higher. However, if you're looking for an entry right here, we currently have a momentum pullback scalp that's currently pending at the moment. There's a sell signal right here, price pulled down. If this green candle right here closes above this black line, then the entry would happen right here. However, if it closes below and it's a green candle, the entry is going to be right here at the 90 mark. So no green candle right there. I'll keep looking for any possible entries here for the momentum pullback scalp. However, if you look at the ATR down below, the ATR is not looking good. It's currently at 16. We typically need it to be above 15. And if it just keeps getting lower and lower, it's just going to slow down even more. Let's see, Daniel said news in 3 minutes. Yeah, so we have the Fed speaking over here at 7:15. It's not an actual news event, but the volatility is probably going to start picking up because he's going to give some hints regarding the Fed meeting minutes that are going to come out later today at 11. So for today on the calendar, guys, we have Fed Waller speaking at 7:15. At 8:30, we have the 17-week bill auction. At 9:15, we have Fed Bostic speaking. So we have two Fed members speaking today. And then at 11, this is the high impact news that's coming out. We have the Fed minutes. So basically, Fed Waller and Fed Bostic are going to give hints about what's going to be released in the Fed minutes. The Fed minutes are going to indicate whether they plan on increasing interest rates this month or if they plan on increasing interest rates next month. They've already increased interest rates for the mortgages. So with that said, they're going to be increasing interest rates either this month or next month for sure. They have to. There's no way that they can just increase one side. They're going to increase everything pretty much. There's just a lot of stuff. This is actually inflation week. So if you look over here on the news for this week, we have PPI today, which is price producer index. And tomorrow we have CPI, I believe. Yeah, we have CPI, consumer price index. So this is actually inflation week. The Fed's just commenting on all the inflation news that's coming out. And then I think next week is actual Fed week. Fed week is usually the third week of each month. So first week is NFP week. Second week is inflation week. Third week is Fed week. And fourth week it's kind of just up in the air sometimes, depending on what the news is that's coming out. So we do have a lot of news coming out shortly. I think the market's kind of just going sideways for today specifically. And then I think it's going to pick back up tomorrow because tomorrow is CPI news. So we have CPI tomorrow, core inflation rate, consumer price index, initial jobless claims, just a lot of news here that's going to highly affect the market tomorrow. So even though the market's kind of slow today, I think when the minutes get released this afternoon, later we're going to have some more inflation news that's going to kind of just shake up the market a bit. All right, so we have price breaking past the structure over here for the high-low scalp V2. What we're looking for here is now we're now looking for the fake out above. So this level right here is not useful. We can't use this level because this level is the one that got broken first. This is the nearest level right here. So what we need is we need price to come back up, fake out, and come back down. And that's where our entry is going to happen. Right there. All right, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4-5, we got 2 more candles. If this doesn't fake out in the next 2 candles, then there's not going to be an entry here for a high-low scalp V2. And then we have Fed member, who do we have? We have Fed member Waller speaking right now. So you might want to be a little careful. Nathan said liquidity just got hit. Yeah, if anybody took the liquidity down here, I marked this up pre-market as usual. And you can see right there, it went straight to TP. So if anybody caught that, liquidity went straight through, full TP. Here's a clean chart. Yeah, so here's the level that K was alluding to earlier, because K earlier said that 33,980 looks like a sell area. He was just a little too early. So K over here identified this as a sell area. He got faked. Well, if he was to enter right here, he would have gone faked out. And then right here in the second touch, came right back down, blasted right through. So that's something that this is basically like the high-low scalp V2. That's the way that we apply it, right? We look for price to break it, we look for the fake out, and then we look for the continuation. So if we were using these same methods on, like, say, this area here, it would have played out perfect. His price came down, faked out, came back down, and then blasted right through. Yeah, Case said coming down to 33,912. Yeah, I can see that. But it could be another fake out like off this level. So what I would look for here is I look for the fake out right here. And then I look for the price to come back up. And then do the same thing, just exactly what happened right here, right? So price came down, faked out, came back down. Same what I'm looking at right here too. I'm looking for price to come down, fake out, come back down. Yeah, nice move right there, K. So K, I don't know if you're holding on to it, but for me personally, if I was to take the entry here, I'd pull out for a small profit, let it retrace up, and then come back down from wherever it's currently at. Yeah, so K's identifying, so he's looking at it to come down to 912 right here. It's a pretty big drop. 912. I mean, I could see it come down. It might not come down like immediately, but I think eventually it will. Like 600 pips. All right, let me see if there's any other structure over here that I can draw up. Not really. I'm going to structure right here. Yeah, there's some structure right there. Yeah. Case, I need to learn how to get out. The thing is, it's tough to really know exactly when to get out, because sometimes, like, even that's like my problem. Well, not really my problem, because I have fixed TP stop losses. But yeah, if you don't have a fixed TP stop loss, it's hard to determine because there's a lot of different factors. Like, for example, here when price came down here and broke past my support, that's where I would have pulled out from. So like I mentioned, like you were saying, like right here at 980, right? I would have got in right there at 980, and I would have pulled out when price broke below here. So I would have pulled out, let the fake out happen. And then if it comes back down, that's where I would have my entry again right there. Have my entry just waiting right there to catch it as it comes back down lower. There's different ways to like identify entry points and like when to pull out, but it's really up to your strategy. So your strategy probably wouldn't line up with mine. But for me, like I'm just scalping. So I'm like looking for these little moves here. So see how price is coming back down. If price breaks structure again, I think it's going to come down further. And then the pullout area would again be like, this next level down here. Because I typically trade from levels to levels, and I usually just scalp. So instead of going for like the big moves, I'll go in and out within like 10, 20 points. And that's usually what I'm looking for. There's a lot of fake outs. There's just like, because everybody's analysis is slightly different. So it's kind of hard to tell, which one to really go with. You just go with your own, however you like to apply it. All right, so this here is no longer useful, guys. Unfortunately, it looks like 5 candles have passed and price did not fake out. So we had price break and close below here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Price never came back up to break and close past the structure. So from there is just no high-low scalp V2 at that moment. Let's see, price pullback right here. It came up. There's still technically an entry running right now for the momentum pullback scalp. I don't know if anybody was looking to take it. The ATR is just too low right now. If you look at the ATR, it's currently at 15. It's not an entry that I would personally want to take because the volatility is so low. But there's technically a momentum pullback scalp that's currently running right now. It's currently in drawdown, but the volatility is just way too low. As you guys can see over here, it's currently at 15. So I wouldn't even want to enter this, as a late entry. It's just a messy market today. Market's been pretty messy all day today. So it finally kicked into direction down here, as you can see. So price kind of came back below here, faked out, came back below, faked out. And it does have a direction. The only problem is that it's not really consistent. Let's see, case said right now, I'm in a gold sell up, big holding to 1872. Should get out. You're in to sell for gold. Let me check gold real quick. I can just check the gold future. I mean, I can see gold maybe coming down depending on what time frame you're trading on. You're probably trading on like the 15 or something, right? Or if you're trading on the 5. I mean, the sell looks like if this here establishes the, the transfer of like trend, then it can probably climb down further. But yeah, it's kind of messy because if you look over here on the 15, it's still bullish. 1 hour is bullish. If you're on the 5 minute, I think the main thing to look for would be this red pivot. So if this level 4 pivot crosses all the other pivots, then it's going to be confirmation that price is going to continue climbing down lower. But until then, it's still bullish right now. It's just in a very strong pullback. So price is pushing up right here, pullback super strong, and it might just correct back up. So yeah, for me personally, I would get out because I don't like trading like not knowing exactly where price is going and stuff like that. All right, there's no bearish trend yet here for the 5 minute on YM. So looking over here on YM on the 5 minute, this would have been a nice entry if we had a confirmation of the trend. So you can see how price broke below, faked out, came back down. Entry would have happened right there. Depending on what your TP stop loss would be. I mean, I would typically go for like 50-50 if the volatility was high enough, but the volatility is kind of low right now. So it's kind of tough to look for entries right now, fortunately. All right, Marcin, we'll see you back here tomorrow. Rashida said she's going to sell also TP at 1867.9. Nice. So if Rashida's in a sell with UK, I think you guys are probably on the same track. I mean, if you both are, because typically that's a good thing about this group or this community is like you can ask people if they're in a sell or not, right? Like you can just pop into the chat. If someone else is in your direction, odds are it's probably gonna go in that direction, especially if they're in this community, because they typically do a full analysis. They don't just hop into random sells. So yeah, hopefully it hits your TP, guys, for Rashida. Okay. My main goal here is to make profit, guys. I'm not in competition with nobody. I don't like to go against anybody's opinion. I'll give you guys my opinion, but I'm never going to argue with you guys like, okay, my opinion is better. Because there's no, with trading, there's no one way to trade. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't realize, that you can analyze the chart in so many different ways, different time frames, different strategies. Some people are trend traders, some people are counter trend traders. There's no one way to do it. So all I hope for is that you guys TPs get hit, because my TP, well, I didn't actually get a TP today. I'm still looking for my entry. Yeah, there's just nothing for us to take here right now. Volatility is not really moving too much. Volatility is currently at 16, which is really low for a fall season. I was expecting this to pick up by now, but it hasn't really picked up too much. It's still moving pretty slow. So for the momentum pullback scalp, we can look for another opportunity here. However, there's no opportunity available just yet. Looking at the sell signal, we need price to push down lower, retrace, and come back down from where it's at. So there's just a lot of different opportunities here to maybe look at, but not exactly the best entries to take because of the low volatility. Nice. Yeah, no, Case said I'm learning a lot from you. Yeah, and I'm glad. I'm here to help, guys. Like, I'm not here to to basically shit on anybody's strategy. I hate when people go into like other people's rooms and they give their analysis or their explanation, and then like the whole group like goes against that person, or the person who's like supposedly mentoring just like kind of shits on somebody else's strategy because it's not the same as theirs. I've been trading for a long time, so I know that there's a ton of different strategies that work. It's just really sticking to what works for you. So yeah, but no, that's good. It's good that like for UK that you're identifying trades in our direction, because it looks like you're trend trading as well. If you're looking for a sell here for YM, because that's how we trade. We trade momentum, but in the direction of trend. So our strategies align with a lot of other people who trade trend. It's just our entry times are a little different because we trade based off momentum. So. All right, there's just no entries here right now. Let's see, it's 7:26. I'm hoping we get some volatility to pick up from now until like 7:40. If we don't get any volatility from now until then it looks like the market might it just might get a little flat. There's no momentum pullback scalps here. In order for us to have entry, we need price to be down here. Yeah, Maddie said, I'm not liking this low ETR. Me neither. The ETR is extremely low right now. If you guys look over here, it should be above like 20 right now because it is fall season. If you guys have been trading with me since last week, the ETR was like 20 to 30. Now it's at 15, which is super low. And you know, the biggest thing here, I think the biggest red flag is looking at sentiment, because sentiment should not be flat during the fall season. There should be a lot of retail traders on one side and a lot of retail traders on the other side. Like it should be like 60% or more right now. This is kind of unusual. I think a lot of people are just scared in the market because they have the Fed speaking today. Well, the Fed's speaking all week. So with the CPI news and the Fed speaking, I think a lot of people are just scared to enter into the market because they're worried that there's going to be a big spike or a big, like, you know, movement in one direction or the other. Kind of similar to what happened over here with the market news this morning at 5:30. You guys see this big candle right here? So I feel like a lot of people are just scared to enter the market because of this, right? They're not sure what's going to happen because like this morning, the high impact news came out and this kind of spiked. And then later today, we have the Fed speaking at 11. If you guys check the calendar, we have Fed member Waller speaking right now, and we have Fed member Bostic. And then this is a big event at 11 o'clock. It's the Fed minutes. If you guys are not familiar with the Fed minutes, this is basically the Fed. They come together for this meeting and they discuss inflation, interest rates, recession, like pretty much everything, like all corners of the economy. And these minutes here, if you guys are not familiar with minutes, this just means the notes from the meeting. So the FOMC minutes just means the FOMC notes from their meeting. So when these minutes get released, they're going to be talking about the inflation rate. Tomorrow we have inflation news. Of course, you have CPI, jobless claims, etc. So they're going to give hints about like what they're going to be forecasting for the inflation. You can see over here. So if you look at inflation rate, it looks like inflation is going down slightly. Well, that's what their consensus is. So last month it was at 4.3 and they're forecasting it to be 4.1. I don't know if this is going to be the case. I think this might not be the case because if they raise interest rates, it's not going to be good for the economy. So I think inflation will either stay where it's at or go higher slightly. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm just using like basic logic. Because if we're going to a recession, you know, you see all these like news events about going to recession. There's also the war that's going on in Israel. There's a lot of stuff going on that will affect the market. But I think because of that, a lot of people are just not in the market. It looks like the market's moving right here. It looks like there's a lot of volatility and price is kind of climbing. But realistically, if you look at the ATR, it's not really moving too much. If you were to measure price movement, so let's measure this range right here. So let's measure the range from, say, open up until here. You guys can see the range here is not that high. If you just measure the bodies. So price has been moving about 500 to 600 pips, which is not a lot. This is not a lot of movement for fall season. Fall season market should be moving at least 1,000 pips, right? So this is the average and the norm. Price should be moving about 1,000 pips, say within each hour. and we're not really getting that. So we're getting maybe like a quarter, like maybe 75% of like actual market movement that usually happens during the fall season. So, with that said, you just have to kind of work with it. The volatility is picking up a little bit right here, but I don't really think it's going to be holding for too long. So if the main way to look at ATR or to look at volatility is just look at the ATR. Like if you're scalp trading, this is going to show you what the average true range is the past 14 candles. So like basically from here, 14 candles back, candles have only been moving about a 15-point range, which is 150 pips, not that much. Yeah, so price is now climbing up here. The trend is still bearish, so we still look for some sells here. But there's not really much to take. So price never came down to this area. There's no opportunity for us to take any sells. It's 7:31 right now, so I think we'll look for the next 10 minutes. If there's not much movement in the next 10 minutes, then I'm not expecting any more movement from now until 8. I think a lot of people are just being more careful because the Fed's going to speak, or he's currently speaking right now, actually. He's speaking right now at 7:15, and then the next Fed member is going to pick up at 9:15. So Fed Waller is speaking right now. Key things to look at to identify if there's like some sort of bias in the market is going to be mainly the retail sentiment. If the retail sentiment here doesn't pick up, you can see it's at 50-50. This is not normal for fall season. Typically it's at least 60%, like 60-40, maybe 65-45 or 35. It's just not really, if you guys have traded with me in the fall last year, it wasn't around this point. We can probably even pull up a video. So let me see. October 11th. Let's just pull up a video real quick from my YouTube. So, all right, let's see what the market was looking like October of last year. We'll see October 14th. So this is my live session from October of last year. You can see that there was, the sentiment still wasn't it was very flat that time too. It's at 51%. So it looks like around this time last year, it was still pretty low. Sentiment was at 51%. Yeah, retail sentiment was around about the same this time last year. Okay, so I guess we're not really like too far off. I just felt like around this time, the sentiment should be a bit higher, but I guess last year at the same time, it was at the same thing. So sentiment is about the same. It was at like a 51% last year. It's at 51% again this year. So it is just the market for this time period. I was expecting volatility to be up higher, but there's nothing for us to work with here. ATR is back down to 14. We can't even take any momentum pullback scalps because if you look at the criteria over here, ATR must be 15 or above. You can see it's bouncing between 15 and 14, so it's not really a good time to trade right now. I'll keep looking for entries, but if not, I mean, we might have to just sit out. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. Otherwise, we'll keep looking for entries, but I don't think we're going to have anything unless this ATR picks up over the next couple of minutes. Since there's no news today during the live session, I think there's just not going to be much volatility. It seems like a lot of people are just sitting out waiting for the Fed minutes to come out at 11. There's pre-market news, but not really any news during the session. So let me go back over here real quick. Let's go to our clean chart. I'm going to clean this up a bit. So let's redraw the structure here. Let's make some adjustments. I'm just going to ignore all of the previous structure and I'll mark up the structure that came up during the actual live session. Structure right there. Structure right there. Structure right there. And right there. All right, so looking at this right here, you guys can see where price came back to. It's back to opening price, right? Baseline. So with that said, you guys can see that like it seems like price didn't really go anywhere. Because if you look over here, market opened right here, faked out up here, came back down, faked out, came back down to the middle. And this is pretty much where price just keeps bouncing around. Here, let me see this. So I'll just draw a zone over here to show you guys where all right, so if I delete all these zones, so I'll just show you guys this as an example. I drew a structure in between where opening price was. You can see that price just keeps coming back to this area. It fakes out, comes back, fakes out, comes back, fakes out, comes back, fakes out, comes back, fakes out right here, and it comes right back. So see where price is currently at. This is like the actual movement. Everything over here is just manipulation. Price gets manipulated up, comes back down to opening price, manipulated down, comes back to opening price, but it always finds its way back to this blue line right here. This is how you know that there's no direction in price for today. Because if there was a direction, price would climb higher, it would climb lower. But I just want to show you guys that so that you guys can see, because there's a lot of manipulation that happens in the market that people don't really see. Like for example, if I draw the other structure here, it'll look like it makes sense, right, where price is going. But realistically, if you look over here, price just keeps coming back to this area. So again, right here, there's another fake out. See how price faked out up here, came back to this resistance, faked out, came back below. And now we'll see if price actually climbs back down. If it doesn't climb back down, it's probably going to come right back up, right? It'll come back to this level and come all the way back up to opening price. This market kind of sucks. I was hoping we get some more entries today because this whole week, well, I mean, also is a holiday week, so this is kind of normal for a holiday week, where the market kind of just doesn't really move very much. Or if it does move, it just doesn't move very directional. We're back into a bearish bias over here. We'll see if we could have another setup here for a high-low scalp V2. But again, the ATR is just too low. I'm not even going to bother with the momentum pullback scalps because the ATR just stays too low. It's going between like 15 and 14. We need it to be 15 and consistently above 15. If it doesn't, there's just not any opportunity there for entry. So you see success, I'm just going to call it, grabbed a little here and there, but not planning on trading for today anyways. Yeah, no, I agree with you, TC. There's just not very many opportunities for you to take here. I mean, if you guys have profits to share, feel free to send them in. Looks like a couple people here sent in some profits. David said, not the best day to trade, but thanks to your analysis, he caught some profit. So David over here locked in some profit for the day, locked in 22.49 on his first trade, and then 5.10 on his second trade. Nice work right there, David. We also got Maddie over here. Maddie hopped into that high-low scalp V2 with me, locked in 240 per account, so total profit of 1,440 for the day. Nice work, Maddie. That's pretty much it. It's 7:38 right now. We have another possible setup here for a high-low scalp V2. So we'll look for price to come back below, fake out, come back down. With the ATR so low, I would probably go for a smaller TP in this situation, guys. Like I'll probably only go for like, I don't know, 100 pips or so, because the volatility is just too low. Because the thing is, if you're going for a 300 pip move, you're probably going to hold on to that position for a long time. And if you hold on to it for like more than 5 minutes, it's no longer going to be a scalp at that moment. It's going to turn into an intraday trade. And you definitely don't want to be holding an intraday trade applying a scalp strategy. So ATR is currently at 15. If there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. If there's any confusion, feel free to hop in the chat, guys. I'll explain whatever you guys need help with. There's just no entries for us to take today. I was hoping we get something today. Luckily, I was able to catch one profit. So I took one trade today, and that's what I locked in. But it wasn't even a good trade. It was a trade that I incorrectly entered. And it just didn't fit criteria. So let's see if there's anything here. So I'm looking for price to come back down to this area. If it comes back down, it's going to pretty much satisfy the criteria for a high-low scalp V2. There's just no opportunities here for a momentum pullback scalp because the volatility is too low. So I'll keep watching this here. Meanwhile, I'm going to go and take a screenshot of my individual profits. But if there's any questions that you guys have, feel free to put them in the chat. I'll answer whatever you guys need help with. It's just there's nothing for us to take here at the moment. Days like this, it's probably better to just sit out the market anyways, because it's better to have a slight profit or just no losses at all, and having that opportunity to survive to trade another day. Like today's definitely not a good day to take anything risky, because there's just so many different possibilities that can play out. All right, so we're just watching the price to come back down below here. If we get that, we can look for a possible high-low scalp V2. I mean, if not, I'm not going to force anything. It's getting close to 8 o'clock. So I'll probably wait until like maybe 7:45, 7:50. If there's nothing around that time, then I'll just wrap it up for the day. No official trades came up. The volatility was not there pretty much all day. It was kind of crazy on open. And then when the market started to stabilize a bit, it just flattened out. And it also shows with the, with the retail sentiment. The retail sentiment hasn't really changed too much. Yeah, it's still at 51. It just shows that there's nobody in the market. So don't worry, guys. Don't get any FOMO if you guys like feel like you really need to take a trade. Because if you look at retail sentiment, it even shows you that majority of people out there are not trading. So you're not alone with not trading today. Or 80. Let me take a picture of my personal. TFF. Yeah, price might make its way down. Let's see. All right, so price might be breaking structure right there. No, it didn't. So this was too close. I wouldn't consider this breaking structure. Let me see. Yeah, it's too close. It has to be pretty clear of it breaking the structure. Also, the volatility is too low. Most of my profits. All right, guys. So let me just copy over my profits real quick. I don't see any entries here. I'll keep looking, but it's about to be 7:45 and I don't see any volatility picking up. You guys can see it's just going sideways right here. Each candle is very small. It's not really worth taking any risk right now. So I'm just going to copy over my profits real quick. So here's my first funded engineer account locked in 970. Here is my FTMO locked in 1030. Here is my second FTMO locked in 1030. Here is my third FTMO locked in 1030. This is my 200K count locked in 2160. This is my second funded engineer account locked in 480. Here is my personal account. I locked in at 327. This is my TFF account locked in 1,000. And this is my second TFF account also locked in 1,000. So those are all my individual accounts. I mean, it's pretty much just a mirror image of my copier. So for my day so far, this is how much I locked in. For my week so far, this is how much I locked in. I didn't lose any trades this week. I took partial moves pretty much all week because either market wasn't really moving very much or I was in the wrong trade. Like for example, today I was in the proper trades, but I didn't get in. This right here is not the entry yet, guys, because this candle here didn't break and close below it. I think what I'll do with this is I'll probably just follow it. I don't think I'm going to take a position because it's getting close to 8 o'clock and I just don't like how it's moving. The market volatility is just extremely low. So, all right, price broke and closed past it right there. So what you're looking for next is you're looking for the fake out. This is the first step right here. So first, confirm the trend using the pivots. You can see prices below the pivots. Pivots are angling down. Level 4 pivots above all the other pivots. Step 2, confirm price break and close past the nearest high low. This candle right here broke and closed past it. For step 3, you want to see the fake out. So you want price to come back above it and close above the structure, right? Once it closes above the structure, now you set your pending order right there and you catch it as it comes back down. So right now you're currently at step 3. You're looking for the fake out. The fake out has to happen within 5 candles. So this is the first candle right here. It needs to fake out within 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If it does that, then you look for price to come back down to fill, and that's going to be the entry for the high-low scalp V2. The only problem here is that the volatility is very, very low. So what I would recommend is if it goes into profit, I would recommend moving your stop loss in profit to guarantee your profits, and then pretty much just ride it through. If you want to pull out early for some profit, do that. If you want to just hold on to it, you can do that as well. But for the most part, it's not really looking like an entry here that's going to play through. Yeah, Maddie said, yeah, the ATR is not it. It's way too low. Yeah, it's just not looking good so far, guys. The ATR sucks right now. So I wouldn't really recommend entering anything because all our strategies are based off momentum, right? So if there's no momentum, the entry is probably not going to be good because you might just go sideways for like the next 5 minutes or so. And at that point, it's no longer going to be a scalp. So what I'm going to do here is I'll add up my profits for the week so far, or for the day. So these are my profits for the day. I'm going to lock these in right here. So 970 plus 1030 plus 1030 plus 1030 plus 2160 plus 480 plus 315 plus 966 plus 966. So total profit of 8,947 for the day. That's for my day so far. And then for the week, 2360, 2490, 2590, 2590, 5280, 1165, 765, 2298, 1332. Total profit of 20,870 for the week. So it's not too bad. I mean, you know, just if you trade smart, you don't take dumb trades, or like if you do take a dumb trade, you pull out early enough to get profit. You know, you can do pretty well. Like that's how much I've locked in for the week so far. I've taken 2 partial moves pretty much, or 3 partial moves. I took a move on Monday on my own. I took a partial move yesterday, and I took a partial move today. So there's nothing wrong with taking partials, guys. If you guys don't feel comfortable with the position, or if you realize that the position is wrong, you know, pull out for a small profit. You don't have to get greedy, because when you get greedy, that's usually where things start to turn bad. So, all right, there may be a possible entry right here for a high-low scalp V2. So price broke and closed below it. If this candle right here closes above this line, then it's going to give opportunity for a sell. If you look at the ATR, it's currently at 14. So I would not mess with this trade. I personally won't mess with this trade. If you guys want to take it, that's on you, right? If you want to take it, take it. But for me personally, I'm not going to take this trade. ATR is just too low. So I'm giving you guys a heads up here. I'm not taking this trade. But I am letting you guys know that there's an entry that's possibly setting up right here. So yeah, Matt, he said he's definitely out. I think I'm probably just going to wrap this up, guys. I don't think there's a reason for me to like kind of give you guys the opportunity to like take this entry here, because I think this entry is not going to be a good one. So I don't want to tempt you guys to like take this by staying online. Is, you know, I'm always looking out for you guys' best interest. I don't want you guys to take anything risky that I wouldn't take myself. And this is definitely not a trade that I would personally take myself because of the market volatility. It's too low. Yeah, it's just not worth the risk, guys, because you guys might get into this position and then what will happen is price will just go sideways for a bit. And then eventually it's either going to spike to your TP or it's going to spike to your stop loss. And I don't want to put you guys in that position, especially when I wouldn't take it myself. So if you guys want to take the position, just keep in mind the levels right here. I'll pretty much just let you guys know where everything's going to be at. But for the most part, I'm not looking to take this myself. So we had price break and close below here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is the 5th candle. If this candle here doesn't break and close past this level here, then there's no entry. So this is the last candle that can break and close past it. And it looks like it's not going to. So looks like the trading gods are on your side today, guys. They didn't want to lure you into this trade right here because it looks like it's not going to close. And there goes that. There's no entry there for a high-low scalp V2. This here is invalidated. This panel didn't break and close past it, so there's no entry. So, all right, guys, I'm gonna wrap this up. If you guys have any questions, feel free to email me. You guys can email me at Sean@KodiKaiTrades.com, or you guys can message me on Discord. Discord is probably the fastest way to get in touch with me. But other than that, that's pretty much it for the day, guys. Today was not a good trading day. It was pretty much a lot of sideways movement here. You can see price is making its way right back to opening price. It's not worth the risk, guys. There's no direction today. Price just keeps pulling back to opening price, and there's no direction to the upside and no direction to the downside. So, all right, guys, other than that, I will see you guys back here tomorrow. If you guys have questions,